I'm telling you, they know everything about everything. So this whole region, right? Everything you're seeing, every being that lives in this region knows.
What's creeping behind the trees? From glowing eyes in the tree line to bone-chilling howls caught on live streams, these aren't blurry messes. These are the 9 creepiest Bigfoot moments caught on camera this year. The footage got clearer, the encounters closer, and in some cases, violent. Across North America, cameras picked up things no one can explain. Dark figures watching, growls shaking the mic, shadows that move wrong. It starts with knocks in the dark. July 21, thick forest. Nothing but silence and 2 researchers chasing what most people still call myth. They'd been investigating this spot for months. Activity was already high. Knocks, shadows, strange movement. But this night, it pushed things too far. Heavy steps, echoes through the trees. And then something close, too close. Not just heard, felt. You can hear it yourself when something charges in from the darkness.
What was that? What? Holy shit. What, dude? Oh, that scared the What is it, man? It was a wolf. Wolf's close, son. Look at it. I don't hear it. The fucking weird thing. That shit is close, son. Right here.
The fear is real. So is the sound. What followed that night changed everything. Derek, one of the researchers, didn't come back. Whatever was out there, he took it home with him. He started seeing shapes in the trees near his house. His dogs wouldn't go near the woods. That's how real it got. Over the next 2 years, the evidence just kept stacking. They captured rock structures with no roots literally jammed into the ground. Too clean, too deliberate to be natural. One tree with no signs of breaking lodged vertically in place. Another one leaned into it like part of a set. Nature doesn't do this. Something else does. Check this out.
There's no root structure to that. It's just into the ground. That one's the same way. You can see clearly there's no roots to it.
No root systems, no explanation. And it wasn't just trees. Footprints, huge. One set mid-run, possibly chasing a smaller canine. The smaller tracks disappear. Did something pick it up? It's not a stretch. Further into the forest, rock piles start appearing. Always at the base of trees. Always near game trails. Some look fresh. Others have clearly been there for years. Almost like markers, warnings. And then there's the direct response. Tree knock, then another, then silence. And it's not random. It's a conversation. You hit once, it hits back. See it for yourself. Listen closely. That reply isn't echo, but it's not just Bigfoot signs. Out near a bend in the road, they captured a strange object moving across the mountain ridge. No plane, no drone, just gone. Even weirder, the sounds. Strange clipped speech, words, growls. The mic picks it up, but they didn't hear it in the moment. Watch again.
Sounds like it was right up on the hill. Strange animalistic sound. What it could be.
It's low, fast, and right on the edge of hearing. In Tennessee, at a research site dubbed the Hunting Grounds, they found more of the same. Rock piles, animal activity suddenly dropping off. One night, a rock was hurled at Derek's car as he tried to retrieve a trail cam. Left a visible dent, and that wasn't the first time they'd been followed. Voices started to creep into the parabolic mic recordings. Words no one remembered saying. Growls no one heard in person. Were they being tracked? Mocked? Warned? Over 2 years, the pattern grew. Big movement followed by sudden stillness. Structures that appear overnight. Voices recorded without explanation. And moments that made grown men rethink everything. When something that big is moving through thick brush like it owns the place, you don't need to see it, you feel it. This isn't campfire legend. This is boots on the ground proof. Knocks, structures, footprints, thrown objects, even possible EVPs, it's all there. So here's the question. If not Bigfoot, then what? And if you're still not convinced, watch again. Think they caught something real? Drop your thoughts below. Smash the like. Subscribe for more raw encounters. This journey isn't over. In April 2011, something strange moved across a mountainside in the Spanish Pyrenees. Not a person, not a bear, something massive, hair-covered, running on 2 legs. For a brief moment, caught on camera. This is one of Europe's clearest Wildman encounters. Real photo, real terrain, and real eyewitnesses in Irún, Spain. The photo shows the figure mid-climb. Steep slope, no hesitation. It moved like it belonged there. The witness and his daughter, frozen, watched it vanish uphill. Watch this back.
País Basco, from Spain, where the sighting of the photo, where a guy and his daughter photographed what appears to be an ape man climbing or going downhill a cliff of a mountain.
They were here, near the mountain's base, tracking the figure's path up the ridge. No trail, just raw terrain. In Basque lore, it's called Basajan, the forest guardian, described as huge, hairy, loud, said to scream when predators approach, said to whistle when other beings are nearby. When the team from Sasquatch SW Europe visited the site, they found something more. Tree structures, quiet caves, a sense of isolation that pressed in like a wall.
We are hearing a crow or a Sasquatch screaming. Difficult to tell. Yeah, I guess it's a crow.
A scream cuts through the quiet. Might be a crow, might not, but it hits differently. Not just noise, but a signal. The original report says the creature ran while whistling, long, sharp blasts, not echoes. Actual replies followed from the forest and a nearby peak. Then came the smell, thick, animal-like, lingering for 30 minutes. Not a usual scent, and definitely not from a known predator. Locals say that area hasn't had bears in decades. You'll see the caves. High up, hidden. That's where it disappeared. Not stumbled, not slid. It climbed. To check scale, the host from Sasquatch SWU Europe returned to the photo site. Same camera angle, same trees. He matched himself beside the pine. At 5'8", he barely reached the creature's chest. Overlaying the image proved the size. Around 8 feet tall. Maybe more. Even hunched, the figure dwarfed the trees behind it. This wasn't shadow play. The scale holds up.
A cave up there. There's another cave there. And I think the Bigfoot was one of those rocks up there. But as you can see, comparing with the big oaks and the pines, the Bigfoot must have been gigantic.
Those pines are enormous. Yet the creature still stood out against them. Massive, solid, real. And this isn't an isolated case. Basque mythology has told of Basajan for centuries. Not a monster, a protector. One who warns, one who watches. This photo might be the best proof we have. And the sounds? The figure's whistle wasn't alone. The witnesses heard others, answering. From the cliffs, from the forest. No tricks, no delay. Like a call and response from something intelligent. The creature moved fast, too fast for someone in a suit. The area is steep, dangerous. You don't run up it without training. Or instinct. Add the smell, the vocalizations, the cave system. It lines up. And the witness's photo? Still unmatched in Europe. This is what Sasquatch SW Europe uncovered. Feet on the ground, eyes on the terrain, documenting what most would dismiss. But now you've seen it. So what was it? If it wasn't a wild man, then what left that trail? What made that sound? What climbed that rock wall like it was nothing? Subscribe for real investigations like this. And let us know in the comments, is the wild man of Irun still out there? Or have we just seen one of the last great unknowns of Europe? This video is from the YouTube channel Colorado Bigfoot. He was about to go through the bushes, just walking, camera in hand. Then he stopped. I took one look up again. Oh my God! What he saw wasn't just movement. It wasn't wind or shadows. It was presence. A cluster of shapes, figures. Who are they? That's the question echoing through this entire video. The whole clan, right there, caught on camera, hidden in plain sight, watching.
I'm about to go through the bushes, and I was like, I take one look up again, and I'm like, oh my God. Special place. You guys, think about it, okay? Like, really think deep into this. This isn't the Earth. We didn't know about this. Like, what's going on here? Who are they?
Something shifts behind the foliage. Not a trick of light, not a deer. Something tall, still, and aware. This isn't the Earth we thought we knew. That's how he puts it. And when you see what he sees, you start to understand. The trees are bent in ways they shouldn't be. The structures aren't random. There's design, intention. Hairy beings with ridged heads, pale skin. Lean, athletic bodies with hair only from the waist down. Not ape-like, not fully human, somewhere between. And they're not hiding, not really. They're letting him see. He walks deeper into the brush. Against his instinct, against comfort. He doesn't want to go there, which is exactly why he does. Every time he thinks he shouldn't enter a spot, that's where the signs are. X's formed by tree trunks. Carefully placed branches, ground cleared like a nest. There are no sticks elsewhere, but here, it's layered, built. Watch this part.
This is cool to see a structure inside like this. Look at all the sticks. They put all of the sticks together. It's accumulated. Holy spot and a half.
Inside a structure. Trees snapped and aligned, like someone wanted it to be found. The video doesn't rely on jump scares. It's quieter than that. Subtle. You start seeing the patterns. Trails that end in glyphs. Logs stacked in ways you can't explain. Then the camera zooms. He thinks they're watching him, not from fear, from familiarity. Like they're used to him, like he's the only one allowed in their space. You feel it too, that weird static in the air. The breeze doesn't reach into these zones. It stays out, as if even nature knows to keep away. He pans to a dead tree, then to the tridents, then to the sound. A thump in the distance, not heard by Mike, but felt by him. Through his boots, the ground shifted.
Yeah, ants. There's dirt that's ants. The common sense, people, it's amazing. Like, I don't know what an ant pile is. I used to torch them with Lysol and a lighter when I was a kid. Which something I regret very much.
He turns. Something's behind him. He knows it, doesn't need to see it. Then the structures start stacking, literally. Logs lifted and pushed in ways no person would. Trees snapped uphill. Everything facing a center point. A command hub? A lookout? He's seen them sit on top of the broken sticks. Why? No idea, but it happens again and again. This forest doesn't follow our rules. The camera zooms toward movement. You expect a figure. You don't get it. Not yet. But the tension is real. This is their world. and he's walking right through it. Watch from this point zoomed in across the ridge.
I'm telling you, they know everything about everything. So this whole region, right, everything you're seeing, every being that lives in this region knows who's here. It's part of the deal, I figured out. It doesn't matter. So the 4 gals that are walking, they're way down there, but they're 2 miles. They couldn't hear me if I screamed for my life.
You won't spot them immediately, but they're there, camouflaged by design. He knows this land, knows the signs, the pine cones, the leaning logs, the floating branches that shouldn't float. It's all part of the code. They never let anyone else this close, and he never sees plastic. No trash, no cut marks, no boot prints except his. Because no one comes here, not by accident. The teepee structures, brand new, built between visits, like responses, like art meant to be found. This isn't just about Sasquatch, it's about awareness, territory, and maybe a kind of invitation. They know he's there, they watch, they respond, and he keeps coming back, because something out there wants to be seen, just not by everyone. So ask yourself, how many others have walked through forests like this and never looked up? They didn't plan to find tracks this clear, but here they were, crouched on the edge of a creek in northwest Florida, pouring plaster into a footprint they swear isn't human. The toes were spread wide, the arch had a mid-tarsal hump, and the tracks sat at an impossible angle right along a steep, sandy ledge. Not far behind, more prints waited. Some deeper, some smaller, all fresh. And right next to them, impressions in the dirt. Long curved finger marks like something crawled up from the water. Watch this part yourself.
Look at that. I mean, you can see that big old toe. 1, 2, 3, 4. And look how those toes run down the side of the foot.
Yeah.
That's not human. That is a Bigfoot with his foot curved trying to stay up on this ledge, just like our foot's curved, but his is different because he got that mid-tarsal break.
A clean, sloped print with 5 toes and a curvature that makes 0 sense for a bare human foot. Not in winter, not in a spot like this. They moved fast, trying to pour without spilling, trying to protect the edges. One bad step and the whole track could collapse. Or worse, they'd lose the casting kit to the water. But even with the stress, they kept going. Because this wasn't just one footprint, this was a trail. The second cast goes in. The mix is too thin, not ideal, but it's what they have, and it's what they're working with. Still, the toes are defined. That mid-foot rise is still visible. If the cast sets right, they'll have one of the clearest young Bigfoot impressions caught on camera. This footage comes from the YouTube channel Florida Swamp Booger, a team that's been documenting Bigfoot signs and encounters deep in the swamps of the Sunshine State. No dramatics, just raw, boots-on-the-ground investigation. Then it shifts. Watch for yourself.
Add a little more to it to make that hill thicker. What's making it so hard is it's real sandy right here, and it's right on the edge of a cliff. A hill, basically. I don't know. I think, yeah, I'll add just a little bit more, and then let's try to see if we can get that other one cast.
One of them stumbles, almost falls into the creek. The ledge they're working on is eroding fast, and they've got multiple prints within inches of their boots. They move to a third track, even cleaner than the last. The camera picks up 5 rounded toes, a wide ball, and again those fingers in the dirt. Something moved through this spot low, like it was climbing up the bank. Not running, not stumbling, controlled, quiet, strong. Now pause here. Look around. Nothing's broken. No crushed limbs, no torn brush. Just deep prints in soft ground like something heavy but careful moved through. They mention hearing squeaks, clacks, distant whistles. Nothing loud, just enough. And that's where the tension spikes. Whatever left those tracks might still be watching.
While we're sitting here, of course, this is a footprint too. If we messed up, but you can see where the toes were. I was thinking that it stepped from there all the way over to there, but I see that there's actually another print right here. So I don't know, we'll have to look. I can't remember. Do you know if that's a right toe or right foot or a left foot?
That's right.
You'll see the cast setting, but listen closely. There's an edge in their voices, a growing awareness. This wasn't just a track find. This was contact. The prints weren't old. The finger marks hadn't dried. The dirt where it gripped the sidewall, still dark, still fresh. They even noticed the sand brightening in real time, as if it had been stepped on only moments before they arrived. Final cast set. They decide to wait it out. An hour, maybe two, let it dry. Let it lock in. One of them mentions something that sticks, how all their stumbling and sliding tore up the ground. But the creature? It left barely a trace beyond what it wanted to leave. This is no aimless animal. This thing moves like it's part of the land. And every track shows it. The camera pans out the ledge.
This is something else to consider. All this ground, me and you have tore this ground
Yeah.
up, trying to stand on the
Just
ledge.
trying to stand.
This thing came through here so smooth, it only left a few handprints and a few foot tracks. That shows you this thing is made for this terrain. This is a real Bigfoot, folks.
The trees, the prints, the silence. It's not just what they found, it's what they felt. And here's the truth. You can fake a print. You can stage a scene. But you can't fake the moment when people realize they're not alone. What do you think? Real Sasquatch tracks in Florida? Or the start of something even bigger? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more raw encounters. And if these casts come out clean, the next clip might just change everything. He thought they were alone. Miles deep into the backcountry, no trails, no signs of life, just wind, trees, and something else. Then, a snap. Not a tree creak, not a falling branch. A crack, sharp, intentional. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. This footage comes from the YouTube channel Discovering Bigfoot. Todd Standing and an expeditioner set off toward the remote north by Northeast Ridge. The goal? Find Red, a juvenile Sasquatch seen in that same area a year and a half earlier. The terrain is rough. Old-growth forest. No paths, no noise, except for them. And something stalking just behind. He'd seen tree breaks before, but these? Different. Massive. A snap nearly 10 feet up. You'd need inhuman power to do that. And this wasn't decades old. One of them looked fresh. As in, it wasn't there 3 hours ago. Watch this part.
Remember, they're the big bosses out here, not me. This is very exciting. So this is one of two monstrous tree breaks. We're way in the backcountry. Look at this. How tall are you, Darren?
5'10".
He's 5'10". That's 10 feet in the air. Yeah. So, welcome to Big Daddy's Bigfoot country.
Todd looks up. A break just above the canopy, 5 inches thick. No weather could do that. No human could reach it. It's deliberate. A marker. And suddenly everything goes quiet. No birds, no pie. The forest holds its breath. Every time they move, the snaps start. When they stop? Silence. It's not paranoia. It's patterned. They're being tracked. Then another break. This one newer. Bark still damp. The kind of thing that says we're here too. And then comes the moment that stops them cold.
3 hours ago, that was not here. Oh my God. He's here. He's here right now, following us around. Holy shit. Okay, now you gotta ask yourself, Darren, you think wind did that? You think a tornado came through here? This is...
A tree breaks so fresh, Todd knows instantly. This wasn't here hours ago. Whatever made it is still nearby. Watching, following. They're not chasing Sasquatch. They're being watched by one. He finds the spot, the exact breakpoint, climbs up, follows the possible path. That's when he sees it. A print. Massive. deep, 8-foot stride between impacts.
So this is it. This ties it all together. This is the big enchilada. So there's the break. Remember I said he walked on that? He walked over here. Look at this. See how this is busted? This has been, I can't make a dent on that.
1 step, 2 steps, then the landing. Broken foliage, flattened bark. The trail leads up the ridge, a jump longer than a man's body. That wasn't elk, that wasn't bear, that was upright, bipedal movement. Todd lays it out. The creature used leverage, pushed off, and leapt, with weight. Branches crushed, leaves dragged downward. It wasn't just stepping, it was moving with intent. Following them.
Okay, we were going north over 2 ridge lines over.
Yeah.
He must have cut across earlier than us because we kept on hearing sounds
That's
in
right.
the bushes.
Yeah.
So, and then he's been following us ever since.
That's right.
So, we've been hearing a lot of pops and crackles and breaks. And when I was sitting still and Todd was moving, I could definitely hear rustling through the bushes.
Yeah.
Definite. Right?
Yeah, me too.
He's been following us, whatever it is.
Oh my God.
Obviously big.
A single print shows the mid-tarsal pressure. The anatomy doesn't match any known animal. It's distinct. Sasquatch, no doubt, and it lines up with previous encounters. Red, the reddish-toned juvenile, had been following Todd for years, seen before. Blurry in a past photo, but unmistakable now. What's wild is how calculated it all feels. The tree breaks aren't random. The tracking isn't clumsy, it's strategic. They stay just far enough, never close, never careless. And when they leave, the signs appear, prints, structures, breaks, as if something's leaving a message behind. We saw you. We were here. This isn't just a walk in the woods. This is a game of chess, played by something bigger, faster, and more intelligent than anyone thought. So now you've seen the trail, the breaks, the fresh track. The question isn't if it's real. The question is, how long was it following them before they even noticed? It started out simple. A forest walk, camera on. Just another day tracking sign. But something was off. The trees were still, too still. No birds, no wind, just that heavy watching feeling. They scanned the trees. Then it hit. One loud knock. Not a stick falling, not wind. It was aimed. It was deliberate. Watch yourself.
Nothing. Oh, we just heard a wood knock. We just heard a wood knock.
A deep wood-on-wood crack breaks the silence. It doesn't echo like random noise. It lands hard. Then everything goes still again. They pan the camera slowly. Flashlight flicking across bark and branches. No movement, no sound. But that feeling? Still there, even stronger. More time passes. Then they hear it again. This time fainter, like it moved. Every instinct says, stop. But they push forward, slowly.
It was a wood knock. I was recording, so I don't know. It could it not be?
It could not be.
Okay.
The second one could have been.
Let's get in here.
Feel the tension build. Light sweeps the trail. Nothing. But you sense it. Whatever made that sound, it's close. Then, a discovery. A shape in the mud. At first it looks like nothing, but step closer. It's not just a print. It's massive and wrong. Too wide, too flat. And those faint toe marks? Human-like, but too large.
Just heard another, like, rock clack type sound.
Like a branch break down there. think this corner is where they found the track somewhere, just 4 days ago.
Look closely. The heel's clean. The arch sinks deep, like something heavy stood there. Not passing through, pausing, watching. They film in silence. No narration needed. You can feel the change. It's no longer just a hike. This is documentation. They mark it, measure it. But the tension doesn't leave. If anything, it thickens.
Bro. Very unprepared today. Okay, but I just saw, there's some weird stuff in here, but that's a creepy road.
Now that knock means something different. It wasn't just noise. It was presence, warning, or invitation. They don't over-explain. They don't need to. The footage speaks. A knock, a footprint, and that silence. That's what this encounter gave them. Proof? Maybe. Evidence? Definitely. Out here, the forest doesn't always answer back. Sometimes it just watches. If you've ever heard something you couldn't explain, or found prints that don't make sense, drop your story below. Because something's walking these woods, and it's not walking alone. Subscribe for more raw encounters, real sounds, and what happens when the forest speaks back. A massive tree snapped 8 feet high, alone, in grizzly country. 3 nights, no backup, no way out if something moves in. In Nordegg, Alberta, something watches from the trees. Mike didn't go looking for Bigfoot, but something might have found him. There's a moment just after the rain hits where the forest stops moving. You feel it in your chest. No birds, no wind, just silence. Mike was deep in the wilds east of Jasper. Real Bigfoot country. And this trip? It wasn't for show. It was personal. The trail he followed wasn't marked, just worn-down grass and deep impressions that didn't feel right. He noticed it early, massive breaks in thick trees, snapped mid-trunk, too high for a moose, too clean for wind. One was towering, well above his head. And then another, all leaning one way, facing the road. He kept moving, backpack on, gear soaked. The plan was to set camp near the river before dark, but dusk hit fast, and the mood shifted. The forest got heavy. You can see it. Watch yourself.
Esta zona del norte es realmente conocida por sus árboles rotos. Ya sabes, un árbol que llega a la mitad o a 8 pies de altura, algo así, y se parte como un árbol grueso que se parte. Y la gente tiende a verlos y a ir en la misma dirección como para indicar algo o que todo es natural. Vi algo similar a eso en Blood Creek y sé que el Stra vino aquí e hizo su programa, que fue increíble.
The trees creak like voices. Thunder rolls. Every pop echoes like a knock. Night 1. Tent up. No fire. Just a headlamp. Flickering. Mike whispered into the dark, not expecting anything but hoping something was listening. The rain didn't help, and then the stillness. That sharp, perfect stillness. You know that feeling. Something's out there. You don't see it, but you know. Next morning, light breaks. He makes his way back to the site. Finds another break. Bigger than the rest, the kind you don't forget. It's angled, heavy, and just doesn't add up. He checks for impressions. Spots 1. Faint, wide, and deep. Maybe 2. Could have been natural. But what if it wasn't? He walks deeper into the woods, finds a cluster of downed trees. Not fallen, placed, interlocking, stacked. Some thick, some small, all crisscrossed in ways that don't match the terrain. One tree didn't even come from the ground beneath it, laid like a marker. That part? You have to see for yourself.
Ahora, eso parece una huella. Quiero decir, ¿es una huella? Quiero decir, podrían ser dos huellas. Podría ser que algo pisó aquí, algo pisó allí. Pero hay huellas de dedos. Y aquí está mi bota. Talla 13, podría ser otra.
Later that night, the weather turns again. The sky closes in. Thunder cracks. The kind of storm that shakes trees from their roots. Mike camps anyway, right in the thick of it. He sets up an apple, high on a branch. 8 feet up, a quiet offer. He waits. Hours pass. Then, a sound. One sharp whoop. Clean, isolated. Not an owl, not a wolf, not a bird, just once. From the exact place the apple was left. His reaction says everything. He doesn't run. He doesn't speak. He just listens. By morning, the apple's still there. But something changed. A second imprint shows nearby. Heel, arch, toes. Not deep, but shaped. And then a structure nearby, one he hadn't seen before. Fresh, still damp. No root base, not from that spot. He doesn't make wild claims. He doesn't need to. Because when you're alone in the woods for 72 hours and something keeps moving just out of frame, that's all the proof you need. Even subtle things, the way the trees lean, the single knock before dark, the silence that feels alive. You can watch the moment he hears it. The whoop, the crack, the presence.
Acabo de oír lo que sonó como un solo y sólido whoop. Ligeramente diferente al de un búho. Si fuera un búho, sería un solo whoop. No quiero hacer el sonido ahora mismo. Era como si sonara casi entre un búho y un lobo, pero solo un único sonido.
It's subtle, but if you know, you know. Mike wraps the trip quiet. Just before leaving, one last structure, just off the trail. Again, leaning toward the road, just like the rest. See that closing moment.
Por mi tiempo en North. Hace poco, al final de todo esto, escuché quizás el sonido más loco que he experimentado aquí en North en este viaje, fue ese sonido solitario, casi como un whoop.
He doesn't explain it. He just shows it. And honestly, that's enough. What do you think broke those trees? Ever heard a whoop in the woods when no one was around? Drop your thoughts below. And if you'd walk this trail alone, we want to hear your story. A footprint, fresh, right behind the tent. A twisted tree limb torn with no tool marks. One man, alone in the forest. Bigfoot doesn't always announce himself. Sometimes, he just watches. He had just set up camp, remote Virginia woods, pines, hollows, and miles of forest road behind him. Nothing but wind and silence. This wasn't a quick trip. He planned to stay for days, explore deep, hike ridges, monitor sounds at night. No drama, just observation. The way real fieldwork is done. First sign came fast, a single impression, barely visible under debris. He cleared it gently. Heel, ball, deep toe marks. Not fresh enough to cast, but enough to stop you cold. See it for yourself. Watch here.
And hopefully the camera is picking this up. But right here, there's a heel right here. And up here, what appears to be toe impressions. And if I put my foot next to it, it's just a little smaller than my foot. Well, if I take my shoe off, it'll probably be very close.
It's not his foot, just smaller than his boot, but wide. Humanoid, alone. Then came the tree. Broken, twisted, left near camp. Not snapped clean, twisted like wrung by force. Not here last week. No saw marks, no axe, just mangled wood like a corkscrew, placed right where he'd scouted before. Deliberate? You decide. You can pause and look.
It was actually laying right here, but I picked it up and tossed it right there. But this was not here last week. I want you guys to see that very clearly. Look how twisted that is. That's like a corkscrew twist. This has been ripped and mangled.
Another track shows up while gathering firewood. Bigger, deeper, clear heel and toe push, lined with moss and pine needles. Not just a print, a step, a direction. It's near a logging trail, but no tire tracks, no boot prints, just this. He crosses the road, climbs into the ridges behind camp. Higher up, the forest changes. Deadfall, crisscrossed branches, bent trees leaning unnaturally into each other. Some clearly fallen from rot. Others, too symmetrical, too tight. That's where it hits him. 3 large trees leaning into each other, forming a near tripod. He circles it, looks from underneath. They connect. No gaps. Nothing holding them but pressure and angle. Play it again. See this moment nature?
All right, what do we got? We definitely have 3 trees that are leaning. But the 1, 2, and 3. Let's come around the other side and get a better look at what's going on here. See if they're connected. If they are, that's going to be even more interesting. Oh yes, look at this. They are connected right there.
Maybe, but out here, patterns like that make you look twice. Then the dead deer, just bones left. No fur, no torn meat, just a pile. No claw marks, no drag trail beyond the kill zone. Coyotes could do this, but usually not this clean. He's seen red wolves in this area. Even watched one chase a deer years back. But this time, there was no chase. The bones were just there. The sun starts to fall. Light fades.
Here's a bunch of deer hair. Hairs right here. Interesting. There's a lot of coyotes, and yes, there are red wolves in here. I've seen one chasing a deer.
He returns to camp. Fire crackling, audio recorder prepped. This is when things get strange. Out past the ridgeline, a bark. Not coyote. Heavier, lower. Then another, from the opposite side. It echoes back and forth. No pattern. They're not alone. Rewind and listen. They're close.
But what I'm hearing is coming out this way from the back part of the ridge. It's not your typical coyote. More of a heavier bark with a little bit of a no howl, but there's more than one, I'll say that much.
Close enough to be watching from the tree line. Still, he keeps calm, keeps it quiet. Bigfoot doesn't come to chaos. That's his belief. You sit, you listen, let them come to you. He waits, recorder rolling, FLIR in hand. Heat signatures flicker at the edge of visibility. Not deer, not known. Shapes move just beyond detail. And then stop. No sound, no follow-up, just gone. Deeper into the night. No wind, no animals, not even crickets. You know that moment. The forest stops breathing. Something's near, but it doesn't move loud. It watches. Right when it tightens, see this tension spike.
I wanted to let you guys know what I just started hearing. So I may have to get the audio recorder set and record it a little earlier. I'm not going to put it on quite yet. I'm going to continue to listen and see what see what happens.
Morning breaks, quiet again. No new tracks, but the forest feels shifted. Back up the ridges, more formations. 2 limbs, different species, crisscrossed high in a pine. No nearby trees that match. 1 rotten log wedged into a fork, balanced, not fallen. He knows these woods. He's camped here with his father. Remembers the time a tree shook violently. No wind, no reason, just trembling in the distance. Then silence. He never saw what did it, but the feeling stuck. Now he's finding more, clusters of formations. If it's 1, nature, 2, maybe wind.
I'm hoping it's going to get interesting around here tonight. So I'm going to continue doing some exploring. I was across the forest road in the woods on that side, checking things out.
But groups? That's where instinct kicks in. That's where you stop walking and start watching. Watch this last structure reveal.
I don't know about you guys, but I do find this interesting. I believe some of the things I'm finding can be Squatch related.
Camp is calm now. Fire's low. Some things out here are explainable. Others, they just feel off. He doesn't say it's Bigfoot. He never says that. But he shows you what he finds. The patterns, the tracks, the signs. And if you're paying attention, you'll feel what he feels. That electric silence. The kind that means something is watching. So what do you think? Natural tree fall or territorial marker? Were those vocalizations coyotes? Or something imitating them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more field investigations like this. A giant footprint, marshland silence, and something just out of sight. This isn't just a search for Bigfoot. It's the Uinta Basin, where the unknown waits. They set base camp 5 miles east of Sasquatch Canyon. 4 days deep in Utah wilderness. No cities, no cell signal, just cold nights, strange sounds, and the chance of something real. One night something weird happened. A giant insect appeared near camp, creeping, strange. Its legs moved in jerky, unnatural ways. Not a bug you see every day, maybe not even every year. Watch it crawl. Creepy? Yes. Random? Maybe not.
We saw this creepy giant insect acting strangely not too far from where our campfire ring was set up. Does anyone know what this creepy giant bug is? Probably the 3rd time in my life seeing this type of insect.
High elevations were snowed in, so they turned to the wetlands. Rich with food, full of water, eggs, hatchlings, nesting birds. The perfect hunting ground for anything smart and hungry. They weren't just hunting legends, they were tracking movement. And deep near the marsh, it appeared, a massive footprint. Long, wide, deep. It matched others seen in Sasquatch Canyon before. Zoom in on the track, a giant footprint found here.
These areas are well known for a history of paranormal activity like UAP or UFO, three-toed wolves, skinwalkers, not to mention Bigfoot sightings and encounters.
No bear made this, not a hiker either. It was double the size of a 10-inch boot, about 19 inches long, spread wide like something heavy had stepped just once and vanished. They've found prints like this before, same size, same shape, scattered across the high Uintas and down through the canyon. 15 years of searching. This one fits. Why here? The answer might be simple. Food. Easy pickings this time of year and just enough cover to move unseen. Still, it wasn't just the track. The place felt wrong, heavy, silent. That kind of quiet that presses down, like something's watching and doesn't want to be seen. Then, wild horses appeared. A small herd, dozens strong, calm, natural. They walked into the marsh for a drink, and for a second, the tension broke. Feel the shift. Look at this giant footprint found. It was a rare moment. First time this crew had seen wild horses out here.
A giant Bigfoot-shaped track. It's double the size of Jenny's 10-inch long hiking boot. It's about the same size as the 19-inch tracks we keep finding in and around Sasquatch Canyon and up north in the high Uinta Mountains.
But even they didn't linger. The herd moved on fast. Back near camp, more silence. The team checked caves, outcroppings. No sign of people, no trash, no fires, just that same track, still fresh, still massive. The Uinta Basin is no stranger to the strange. Skinwalker Ranch is just northwest. This land holds stories, lights, shadows, screams that don't match any animal. The question now, why do these tracks keep showing up here? Maybe Bigfoot isn't hiding in the mountains. Maybe it's hunting in the marsh. The track is just one piece. The location, the marsh, the wildlife, the feeling. They all line up. You don't have to believe. Just listen, watch. Ask yourself, who's moving through these wetlands when no one's watching? Because something is. And it's Kit. Do you think that was a Bigfoot print? Or something else? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe for more boots-on-the-ground Bigfoot investigations. The search isn't over. It's just getting interesting. 12 years ago, what began as a sweet camping trip in Utah's scenic Provo Canyon turned into one of the most unsettling encounters ever caught on camera. The area, nestled between Squaw Peak and the Little Rock Canyon overlook, is known for its remote beauty. But it's also known for something else: strange sightings. And this one? It's unforgettable. The footage begins when the man holding the camera lifts it slowly, almost without realizing what he's about to see. That's when it happens.
There he is. You can see.
Through the branches, in the distance, something dark is moving, barely visible at first. Black, broad, still. Hidden behind the thick forest growth. The couple freezes, confused, uncertain. The man whispers to his girlfriend, "Do you think it's a bear?" His voice is unsteady, trying to make sense of what they're seeing. But then, the figure moves. It stands up, and instantly, that uncertainty becomes pure fear.
Is it a bear? Isn't the bear next to the deer?
This wasn't a bear. This thing was tall, massive even, clearly bipedal, with arms that swung long and heavy. Its motion was smooth, almost practiced, as it rose to full height among the trees. It didn't crawl, it stood. You can hear the woman gasp. And just like that, they run. No second guessing, no final look. They turn, leave everything behind, and sprint straight to the car. The clip ends as fast as it begins, but what it leaves behind are questions that linger to this day. What did they really see out there? Was it Bigfoot, a trick of the shadows, or something much more real? One thing's for sure, their fear was real, their panic unmistakable. So we'll ask you, if it were you in that forest, staring down something that big, that fast, and that close, could you handle that situation? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And stay with us, because sometimes it's not just nature watching you. Something else might be hiding in the trees. This footage comes from Lettuce Lake Park, Florida. It begins quietly. The camera is not steady, focused across the lake. At first, it seems like just another nature video. But then, something moves. Behind the trees, partly hidden by the brush, there's a figure, a large one. It's hard to see clearly at first. The trees and distance blur the shape. But then it shifts, and you can tell. This thing is big, covered in thick, dark fur. The way it moves, it almost looks like it's waiting, maybe trying to cross the water. The man behind the camera doesn't speak. He just keeps filming, locked in place. Zooming in reveals more. long arms, a bulky frame, a towering height that looks well over 8 feet. Is it a person? A hoax? Some kind of animal? Or is it Bigfoot? We don't know, but even after stabilizing the video, the questions remain. Whatever it is, it's not running, it's not hiding. It's just there, moving slowly, confidently, like it's done this before. Some of the most compelling footage isn't caught with high-end cameras or professional setups. Sometimes, the strangest things are captured by accident. And that's exactly what happened here. The following dashcam footage, posted to YouTube, was reportedly filmed in the Republic of Bashkortostan, a remote and rugged region between Russia's Ural Mountains and the Volga River, near the border of Kazakhstan. This is a land steeped in wilderness, thick forests, mountain ranges, and centuries of folklore. But what you're about to see may turn that folklore into something much more real. The video begins like many late-night road clips. A quiet car ride, headlights cutting through the darkness, and a conversation in Russian between the driver and passengers. There's laughter, casual chatter, but something stands out. The word Yeti can be heard a couple of times, as if they were joking or maybe even hoping to see something. And then, it happens. A blurry shape suddenly darts across the road, right in front of the car, within range of the headlights. It's fast, too fast. The passengers shout in surprise, and the driver hits the brakes. The car jolts to a stop. Just like that, everything changes. The vehicle stalls. The engine cuts out completely. In the dead of night, surrounded by forest and snow, silence takes over. There's a moment, maybe two, of total stillness. Then, the driver restarts the engine. The car inches forward slowly, creeping over where the figure had just passed. You can see the snow disturbed. Whatever crossed the road left tracks. The driver then shifts into reverse, backing up to get a second look. But by now, the figure is gone. The road is empty. The woods are quiet again. Too quiet.
Поехали, поехали, нафиг он нужен, блин. Какой это лось, ты видел, как бежит? Где, как фонарик? Поехали, поехали, потом. Стой, стой, стой. Вот, смотри.
You can hear the uncertainty in their voices, a mix of disbelief, nervous energy, and genuine fear. And who could blame them? Let's talk about what we just saw. The creature crossed the road in less than 2 seconds, and we're not talking about pavement. This is deep, heavy snow, the kind of terrain that slows down even seasoned hikers. No human, no matter how agile, could move through it at that speed. And then there's the size. Even in the dim light, the figure appears tall, upright, and fast. And it moved with a purpose. This wasn't an animal crawling. It wasn't a man trudging. This was something different, something bigger. Could it have been a hoax? A man in a suit? Maybe. But out there, in one of the coldest, most remote parts of Eurasia, who would be running around dressed as a Yeti at night? In a snowstorm? In the middle of nowhere? It makes no sense. And that's exactly what makes this so compelling. The sighting was short, just a few seconds. But those few seconds raise a lifetime of questions. What if this wasn't just a random encounter? What if what we saw was real? A Yeti, a Bigfoot. Legends say these creatures have roamed high altitudes and frozen forests for centuries. But if that's true, what else might be out there? What else is watching, hiding, waiting, in the snowy dark? We'll let you decide. Watch the clip again, slow it down, examine the frame. Look at the stride, the movement, the reaction from the people in the car. Then ask yourself, what did they really see that night in Bashkortostan? And more importantly, what else are we not seeing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, sometimes the scariest things aren't what you go looking for. It's what finds you.